Hi, everyone. I am Maryam Henein. I'm an investigative journalist and a functional medicine consultant and the director of a film called Vanishing of the Bees. And I have been covering Operation Quack Hack, which is an FDA operation, and spoke with Mark Grenon a few weeks ago of Genesis Church. And just yesterday, the church got raided and is now being maligned in the mainstream media.
New tonight, 4 men facing federal charges accused of selling what they called a COVID-19 miracle mineral solution. The Food and Drug Administration had ordered them to stop marketing this bleach-like substance back in April, but they didn't slow down a bit. Well, not until earlier today when ABC 7's Daniela Hurtado was there as investigators raided a home in South Manatee County that was full of the mix-ins for the stuff.
Parrots and prostitutes.
The miracle solution contains a bleach-like substance.
Yeah, what do you know, honey? You know shit about MMS.
Back in April, and they're accused of not doing so. So today, the FDA and other agencies swooped in and confiscated dozens of gallons of chemicals. Hazmat crews helped to identify the chemicals found at the home, including the miracle solution and muriatic acid. The agencies also confiscated more than 8,000 pounds of sodium chloride. Neighbors say they were surprised to see law enforcement and the FDA surround a home in their very own community.
It's just crazy about how, like, I would never think in my neighborhood that this would happen.
Yeah, we thought this was a really nice, safe neighborhood. The kids have all their friends here.
Yeah, people are saving lives of others. It is a safe neighborhood.
Joseph and Jonathan Grenon are being charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy to violate the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act and criminal.
The Fraud and Death Association.
Jonathan and Jordan were arrested earlier today and are being held at Pinellas County Jail on a U.S. Marshal hold.
Thank you for meeting with me, and I'm here with your son.
Joseph, yes.
Hi, Joseph.
Nice to meet you.
So I would love to maybe catch up since the last time we spoke, and also just maybe give a little bit of background that in regards to appearing on Alex Jones, and you had mentioned that while most have disclaimers, you have a proclaimer, and most of us can't use the C word, cure, where that usually doesn't apply to you. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about that, and then we can talk about the raid, and I'd like to also tell you about someone I interviewed who shortly after had 5 FDA agents show up at their door and confiscate belongings. So welcome, and go ahead.
Sure. I appreciate you, Maryam, and appreciate your stand and your fight, and you're willing to fight in the midst of all the stuff going on. But we have to. We have to fight for health freedom. It's just a fact. Quickly, I found, what did they want me to cover? I don't want to go too far back.
With Alex Jones when we were on his show.
Yeah, we were on Alex Jones' show.
In April? When was this?
February?
March.
March,
yes.
March,
Okay.
We were on there with a guy that asked us to come on. Alex wasn't there. It was Dr. Alan Keyes. He ran for president in 2000. And a black man, a good friend of ours, been to our seminars. And he was on Alex Jones as one of the segments. Was the third hour? Something like
Third
that?
hour, yes.
Yeah, after Mike Adams.
Your sound is a little low, Mark. If you can.
Okay.
Joseph, you're okay, but if you can.
Yeah, I have a really not a good voice for. Hello.
Good voice.
Okay.
But go
Sound
ahead.
like the mafia. Well, anyways, we were on there, asked to come on by Alan Keyes, because him and a guy named Bob, they have a TV studio called IMTV in Tennessee. So I was asked to come on because I've been on there a lot. Bob is one of our bishops in our church. Alan was at our seminar. And then they both went to Uganda and treated thousands of people, malaria and all kinds of things. So they were like, let's tell the world, right? So I
This
get on
is
there.
when recently in 2020
March,
they went to
March.
Uganda.
No, they
No,
went
the
last
year
year.
before. The year before.
Okay.
May of last year, I think it
Yeah,
was.
May of last
Okay.
year. They just did a little documentary too.
Mhm.
I could send you that. It's very interesting what they did in Uganda. And
Okay.
so we were asked to come on, and I just told them my experiences and how we're curing so many different things. And I don't care what the FDA says about curing and healing. They're irrelevant to me because we have freedom of speech, we have freedom of religion, and I don't care what they say because they don't cure anything and they try to stop people that cure. That's why they have that code, and we're going to fight that hopefully in the next few months. In front of a jury. So we're going to be able to convince them. So we're on the show, and they were asking me about different things we've cured. And I talked, we cured this, we cured that. And they said, yeah, malaria. We saw that in Uganda. We saw other things in Uganda, had other testimonies. And so because of saying that, the producer, we were just near the end, producer came on and basically shut us down. Boom. We finished and got really cut off.
Yeah.
And so I figured, well, Alex Jones is a freedom of speech kind of guy, right? He was at a freedom of speech rally
Yeah, he was.
that week. And so here we are, freedom of speech, right? They take us, they don't even put us on banned videos. Alex took us
Okay.
completely off.
So were you talking within the context of coronavirus?
Yeah.
Or were you? Yes. Okay.
And malaria and other things. But at the time when I said this coronavirus is like a flu, and we cure flus all the time, it's not a big deal. We even have some testimonies of people with the flu-like symptoms back in March writing us, say, what should we do? So we gave them a protocol that we do, use this, take this many drops, and they wiped it out. Since then, we've had hundreds.
Yeah.
And,
Positive to negative.
yeah, we just read in Bolivia, Ecuador, where we did seminars, and another one of our guys who worked with us in the past did seminars. I mean, they're curing thousands. Bolivia, Uruguay made it legal. Peru is giving
Peru.
it to the what? Tell her the story.
In Peru, they're giving it to, there's a university that's going to be making it and freely giving it to all the medical doctors that are being needed to keep themselves safe.
So when you say it's cured people, let's just put into context that these PCR tests are full of crap, and that 80% are positives, are false positives. So just to put in the context, because to me, someone that's false, a positive, unless they're having symptoms, doesn't mean anything to me.
Well,
personally.
An
That's
asymptomatic
half-
person doesn't mean.
Well, no, it's half true. What she just said is half true because it's true
Okay.
what you said. But according to Judy Mikovits on
Yes.
the Pandemic movie, she
Yes.
said, Mark, if you've had a flu injection, there's pieces of animals in there, and every animal has the coronavirus. So by
Yes.
putting pieces of animals in there, and they do this test, whatever they're looking for, a protein, an enzyme, what's the
They're
thing?
looking for the RNA. Whenever they amplify it, they see the what was the word?
The genetic code,
The
because
genetic code, but there's something else
Yeah.
also that's showing up on the test that shows you positive also, and everybody really has it because it's genetic material.
Right. So everybody, and they could be just outright lying. But what we're dealing with is the people that can't breathe, flu, can't swallow, having coughing and flu symptoms, sweating, and fever, and they get on the protocols. Within 1 to 3 days, it's gone. That's what we mean by curing. Now, they even get
No,
negative.
the word I was looking for, sorry, they're called exosomes. Your cells, when they're intoxicated, they release exosomes, and they can appear when you amplify them 50 times plus or whatever, which is like the max amount of times you can do it to get an accurate reading. It's way out of whack, and these things can show up as an RNA virus.
Let me give you
to make the distinction. Also, that's why HCQ works, because it helps rid the cell of exosomes, especially if you add zinc to help deposit. So yes.
Just like the HIV test that Gallo has patented, they're looking for stuff that everybody has. And we get people deathbed, no weight, dying of HIV,
Mm-hmm.
and we get them on the protocols, and within 3 to 6 months, they're fucking strong, back to work, and they're still negative. Why? Because, still positive.
Still positive, yeah.
Because the HIV test is rigged. And when I said that this test is rigged too. Okay?
Mhm.
So we don't
I
know
think
what
it might be the same PCR test.
it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the quick test, the quick test that they do, they're looking for antibodies, and they're not looking for a specific coronavirus antibody. They're looking for antibodies of pretty much any kind of virus that your body will show. The test will show. So you'll be positive just by maybe even by having herpes.
Yeah.
You can show up positive because you have some sort of antibodies in your.
These people are evil geniuses, okay?
Yep.
I'm not saying they're stupid. They're very smart, but they're satanic smart. You know what I'm saying? They're evil. They're evil geniuses to manipulate.
Tell me, because it's raining a lot here, can you hear the rain? Is the sound okay?
I can't
It's
hear
good.
it. Yep, sounds
Okay.
good. So
Okay, sorry, I
these
didn't
evil
mean to interrupt you.
geniuses,
Yes.
these evil geniuses are coming after us because what we do, if it's made legal, will wipe out 90% of all the pharmaceuticals. Because we cover, it's so broad spectrum, from HIV to malaria to Crohn's disease
Diabetes,
to MS.
yeah.
I get an epilepsy patient yesterday, completely cured.
1 month.
Beautiful, beautiful.
1 month.
This little kid, now he's laughing with his mom, talking to her. Unbelievable. So if this goes legal, and they're going to wipe out the pharmaceuticals. So they're really hitting us hard. They shut down right now. I can't even have my books now. I can't even
So
sell
let's
my
talk
books.
about the raids, because you're not in the States. I don't know if you want to say where you are, but your office, this raid happened in Florida.
Yes, ma'am. In Bradenton, Florida, and I don't care if people know where I'm at because I just called the U.S. Marshals and told them, this is who I am. You arrested my kids yesterday. My other son and I are here, and we're willing to come. We want to face our accusers. We want a jury trial, and we'll convince the jury. They don't want a jury trial. We have experts that will come in and do it. They think because we never showed up at court, they're just going to eat us.
Yeah, and we're not going to turn ourselves in. We're going to face our accusers.
Right.
So we're not going, take me to jail. No, we're going there to face our accusers, and that's what we're going to do.
So
Can
yes,
you boost the volumes a little bit more on your dad?
sure. Yeah, my
Please.
voice does not carry. My dad, on me.
How's
You
that?
hear me? That better? Is that better? How about
It's a
this?
little better.
How
It's a
about
little
this?
better.
Better? Hello? Hello?
Do you hear the difference, Joseph?
Not really.
No, not really.
How about that? Is that better?
Okay, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. Hit the main
Okay.
volume.
So you appear, again, just to put things in context, you appear in March on Alex Jones. They put the program on banned because you're dropping the C word. You had an injunction in April. You were one of the first to receive letters from Operation Quack Hack, which is an FDA operation that's working with the DOJ, which is working for a subsection called CDER, which classifies these natural remedies as drugs, along
Right.
with things like shampoo. Dandruff shampoo is now considered a drug,
Mhm.
which makes no sense to me. Okay, so now we are in July. What prompted this raid from, if you look at the date of the injunction to now, what
Okay.
occurred in between?
What they're saying is everything that occurred in between is we never showed up. All we did is write letters to them and say, stop this order. This is unconstitutional. It's against the First Amendment. This is a church sacrament. It's like saying the holy water in the Catholic Church needs FDA approval. Basically, right? That's what they're saying. And we said, no, you can't do that. You can't even call us a drug. So now a sacrament is a drug? No. So from the very beginning of the warning, before they ever had injunction or temporary restraining order, we said, no, you can't do this, and we're not even going to basically enter your system, okay? Because of that, we pissed them off. And so they came yesterday and said, you're not going to shoot, we're going to come in here and raid everything. And since they told us April, what was it?
7th, wasn't it?
17th. 17th. 17th, we said,
The TRO.
under duress, we will not send out our sacrament. Okay? We're going to go into a time of prayer. And so ever since then, they said, we sold. We didn't sell. We don't sell anything. We take donations. And if they can't afford it, we give it to them. Okay? So we're a real church. We give things away. So anyways, they saw in our bank account, which they just shut down today completely. That's why I can't even get books for a donation.
Meaning, let's clarify, because I've experienced this where they shut down the merchant processor. Are you talking about the merchant processor, or are you talking about a lien on your account?
No, they stopped our Wells Fargo account. Shut it. Wells Fargo said, we not only shutting you down, we don't want you ever to be a client. This is what they said. And one of the ladies that we know at the local bank was like, what's going on? We know you guys. And she called the headquarters in New York, I think it was. And they said, we're not going to tell you why, and tell them we'll never want them as a client again. And boom.
This is how many years have you been with WF?
Oh,
5 years.
The church, but personal accounts, I think, were shut down also.
Yeah, even personal.
Everything. That would have been, 10, 12 years.
Yeah,
so.
Even personal accounts. So, and now I can only...
So tell me, is it a lien? Are you going to get that money? Did they just close the account and say, come and collect your money?
They said they're going to give us a cashier's check in sometime in August. But you know them. They say, we're going to make you pay for everything you're doing, so we're going to hold your money. So now my son's going to bail right now. Right now is what time?
Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah, in 8 minutes.
In Florida.
Well, we'll stand before a screen that it's all on video now.
Yeah.
And talk to the judge and ask for bail. And that's going to happen in 8 minutes, I guess. So
how old are your sons?
Jonathan's 34 and Jordan's 26.
No, he's older than that, isn't he?
Jordan? No, he's 6 years younger.
I got 8 kids. Okay, 26, 27.
You have 8 kids, Mark. Wow.
And
so can you take me like a blow by blow regarding the raid? I mean, I saw, it so happened that my business partner sent me an article, not knowing that you and I have spoken, from RT, where even Russia Times kind of maligns the truth as far as describing, saying you're not a church, saying you're selling chemicals. So take me through the chain of events, please.
Okay. Well, we've had marshals come and give orders, and we don't take them. They just put them down. So yesterday at 8 o'clock, knock on the door. John answers, and it was just a guy, regular guy. He goes, hey, can I get some help with my car? He goes outside. Boom. They didn't, beat him up or anything. They said, you're under arrest. And he goes, okay, I'm under arrest.
Did they serve him with a subpoena because they weren't honest with who they were?
There was a warrant, right?
They have warrants.
Yeah, they have warrants. So they showed him the warrant, and they took my other son. He was there too, and took him. And the 4 kids, grandkids are there, my ex-wife and my daughter-in-law were there, and they didn't hurt them. They didn't want to upset the kids. So that was kind of nice, even though they're evil as hell. That was kind of nice. Okay.
Were they wearing masks? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Coronavirus?
I didn't see that in the pictures. I think they were wearing masks, yeah. But the amount of people that came in,
it was ridiculous.
It was like
helicopters over the house,
hazmat, buses, SWAT.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
They had an armored vehicle.
2 buses full of people.
Yeah.
And the hazmat truck, and then a moving truck, and I mean, it was all.
You have footage of this that you can send me? ABC did a segment, I understand.
I think ABC, Channel 8 of Tampa, and there was a few other ones that did it. Yeah, it's up there.
Joseph, is there any way you can send me a link to one of the MSM?
I'll look for them.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
That's not a problem.
All right, so you have this circus show,
Okay, so they go in, and they say, everybody leave the house, and they flipped over beds. They said, give us the key to the safe. He goes, no, I didn't give you my key to my safe. So they busted the safes. Took about $15,000 and some gold and silver. I
They
don't know.
went into your safe.
Busted it out.
Yes.
We ripped it open. Yeah.
They left-
Busted it.
they
Did
left
not even like give us the. Can you please open this for
Oh,
us?
so no. John
And
said,
took your money.
yeah. They wrote everything down, what they took. Okay, took the money. They took my books. All my books. I can't even have, they can have books about how to make a nuclear bomb and pornography and Satan worship, but I can't have a book about
How to cure yourself.
how to kill yourself in this world. Okay, so everybody leaves. They come back 8 hours later, and it's basically not destroyed, but everything's up and down, opened up. Took all our computers, the kids' iPads, everything electronic.
Yeah.
Went to the back room.
Documents.
Yeah,
church
documents.
papers, personal papers. I think they took the vehicle papers also. I mean, they took almost everything.
And they went in the back where we have a little house, and they took all our products to make our sacraments, all the bottles, my books, everything. Okay, took it away, and that's they have the guns. If they didn't,
Say that again.
they have the guns. They have the guns. If they didn't have guns, then it'd be a different story. Plus, they own the prison system, basically. So they can do what they want. But, and it's a big but, there's a lot of people watching, okay? And I'm getting a lot of calls, and things are going to happen. This is why they're telling me, get a jury trial.
I'm just gonna close the windows because it's raining so much, and I don't want this interview for people not to hear it. One sec.
Okay.
You can hear it a little bit
I hear
now.
it now, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's all right.
And the one thing that they did not take? The moringa.
Huh?
They left all the moringa. They did not touch that.
Well, they left the guns.
And guns, they respect
right.
the Second Amendment.
They respected the Second Amendment, but not the First.
Not the first.
Yeah.
They kept your guns and they kept moringa. Maybe because they didn't know what moringa was. Was it in a powder?
Church
Yeah.
sacrament, yeah, it's
It's a
got
church
papers and
sacrament.
everything, but
And we say it heals and cures. They didn't take it. You want me to read this proclaimer that you talked about in the beginning? Let me tell you what we put, okay? I'll read it. It's in my first book. I've seen many people add disclaimers on their websites when talking about health because of fear of man and governments. And I put a verse, the fear of man bringeth a snare, but whosoever putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. I feel we need to make a statement from the Genesis Church of Health and Healing and the G2 Church broadcast. They were in the studio right now. But not a disclaimer, but a proclaimer of truth. G2 Church proclaimer. Due to our study of truth and true history, we at the Genesis Church of Health and Healing want to proclaim what we have learned regarding health and the medical and pharmaceutical industries. We proclaim to the world to not ask your doctor for any advice about health or nutrition. The number one cause of death in the U.S. is iatrogenic, death by doctors.
Yes.
We proclaim not to go to a hospital unless an emergency. We proclaim not to allow your children to be vaccinated for any reason ever. We proclaim not to take pharmaceutical drugs, be drug-free. We proclaim to the world not to trust the education system to teach truth about history, science, morals, or God. We proclaim to the world only eat real foods organically and unprocessed. And we proclaim to the world take personal responsibility for your own health and that of your family. That's what we say.
Amen.
So why, and we get ridiculed for that, but we don't care anymore. We never cared. We're just going to stand for the truth. We never cared about saying cure, heal. Listen, water cures thirst, right? In the context, you could say water cures thirst. You drink it, it satisfies, it cures the thirst you have, the lack of water that you need.
yeah, food cures.
So,
sure.
Well, they're sending a clear message that they don't give a crap about churches. I mean, in more ways than one, right? Walmart is open, church is closed. Dr. Burks is telling people that the faith leaders are putting others at risk and they need to stop singing. So this is part of the communist, Marxist takeover.
And
So-
Dr. Burks, she's just an imp of Satan. She worked with the HIV things with Gallo and Fauci. She's make her look like a sweet little motherly little. She's a devil. She's a demon. And ask Judy Mikovits about those people. She worked with them for 50 years, not indirectly or directly. And they're just evil people.
I found, Mark, a lawsuit that Dr. Michael Hall filed against Dr. Fauci in 2017. I happen to have covered Zika in great detail, and they were spraying Naled, which causes microcephaly, shrunken baby brains, to try to stop shrunken baby brains with their Zika BS, because it's a benign virus that was patented by the Rockefellers in 1947. And basically, Fauci says to Dr. Michael Hall that they did it for optics. We poisoned human beings for fucking optics. So he can get his $1.1 billion to justify his vaccine, to justify spreading genetically modified mosquitoes, which was just released in
Florida.
The Keys, right? The Florida Keys, Oxitec, which is linked to the NIH, which is linked to Billy Boy fucking Gates. It's all a cesspool of satanic corruption.
There you go. Listen, the governor of Florida, I think it was 2017, they were spraying Miami. Well, his family, I think his wife's family, has part of the interest in that company. They're spraying. And people told me from Miami, the lizards were dead. Everything was dead. It killed everything. What is it doing to us? And by the way, we cure Zika. We've had people with Zika. Well, I had it. You and I had it before we went to Amsterdam.
Before we
had the spots in the body. We wiped it out a couple of days. We had to go to a seminar. We got it from here in Colombia, and we cured it. And because it's a couple of days later, I think you get these blotches, all these outbreaks. Similar to dengue. So, talking about RT and saying we're not a church, let me tell you something. I've been a missionary for 40 years. We're not a church. We better listen to our messages. They're all from the Bible, all the way through. So, first of all, that's an offense to us, and I told them that. I wrote them every time. I didn't file them with the clerk of courts. I wrote them personally and the judge.
You're talking about RT in specific?
Well, you said RT.
Now.
Yeah. No, I wrote the Attorney General, the U.S. and Judge. Yeah. And the judge is an Obama-appointed judge, okay? So we know where she's leaning towards. And these other guys completely gave up their oath, violated their oath to protect the Constitution. And once they do that, the law says they are no longer a judge, and they are no longer an attorney. And they don't care. See, someone like Barr, he even wrote a memorandum to them and said, during this time of emergency, do not violate people's First Amendment rights.
Or any constitutional rights.
Yeah, any. Yeah. And the president said yes in a tweet. Thank you for saying that. Yesterday, when was it Supreme Court said? The Castle.
Oh, that was a while back, but they classified, they said there's a Castle of God is like a protection in the Supreme Court for religious persecution.
Religious freedom.
What's it called?
Called Castle of God.
Castle of God.
Council or cancel?
Castle. Like a castle.
Like a castle, yes.
Basically, it's one of their loopholes. Is that it?
Well,
I'll send it to you so you can read.
Not a loophole for them. It's a loophole. It's for us.
To protect us, yeah.
To protect us. They confirmed it. 7-2. They confirmed it yesterday that there is religious freedom in the First Amendment. Yet they don't care. Well, they're going to care. When we put out this jury trial, they're going to care. And the information I'm getting from other people are going to prayerfully come to our rescue. They beat the FDA 4 or 5 times. Beat them bad. So,
is this a specific lawyer? I was going to ask you, do you have a lawyer now?
I don't really want to say anybody's names yet because we don't have them yet, and I don't want to implement them as saying they're on our side. But it doesn't matter. I could stand before a judge, a jury, and with all the information I have, because when they choose the jury, you choose 6, they choose 6. So I'll ask questions like, do you believe in the First Amendment? And do you believe in it? Do you believe it needs to be obeyed? I'm going to ask questions like that. Do you believe the Bible? Do you believe in capital punishment? Are you against abortion? I want people on our side that believe some moral things, okay?
Yeah.
And they'll have others that say, yeah, we believe in gay rights and killing babies after they're born. They'll have those kind of people. But that's okay, because we're just going to put the information out there, and I want it to be taped. I want the news to be able to come in and listen to every bit of evidence that we're going to show the jury. We have so...
Wouldn't you think, Mark, that it would not be in their... They don't want a jury trial, right?
They have to. They have to. We have the right.
Yeah, they won't want to. Of course they won't want to.
They cannot not have a jury trial. If we ask for one, they have to let us.
Now, is it the same in California? Because I was... sued. I suffered from mold, and then my landlord, a slumlord, sued me, which makes so much sense. But had I wanted to go for a jury trial, and from my experience, you're paying for that jury. It's not cheap. Is it the same thing in Florida?
I have no idea, but you can ask for a jury trial. I know that's a law. Don't ask me the ins and outs of if we have to pay. They're telling us we have to pay for everything they've done against us, too.
Oh, and pay back every donation that we've received in the past 10 years.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous?
What?
Yeah.
Say we have to pay back 10 years worth of donations to the church. That's one of...
Who is they? The FDA? The DOJ? Who?
DOJ, U.S. attorneys.
Yeah.
The judges are sitting there signing stuff, She's not making these
They put it together, and she
complaints.
signs and orders and all that, yeah.
And this judge who will preside over your case is an Obama-appointed judge?
Yes. Kathleen M. Williams.
Yeah.
And
Southern Florida.
Miami District, yes.
Just like on a side note, that the judge, Loretta Preska, I think, just issued that all the evidence for Jeffrey Epstein to be destroyed. Like, when on earth does a judge ask for evidence to be destroyed? And then when you look, I'm like, let me look into who this woman is. And she's helped Alan Dershowitz. So in the article, Alan Dershowitz is posing like, no, we don't want the truth to be destroyed, but you guys are working in together. You're just playing good cop, bad cop, but it's all smoke and mirrors bullshit.
Yeah, we know. See, our eyes are open. And guess what? The world's eyes are opening up. You know this chlorine dioxide is all over the world now. They can't stop it. They can kill us, throw us in jail, and throw away the key, right? But it's not going to stop what we're doing. So we've accomplished that. We've established a base where people are going to make you in their home and do it no matter what they say. That's a blessing. Thank God for that. Now, we're going to fight. We're going to fight. And believe me, we have a lot of power, not only physically but spiritually. And we're not bragging. It's just a fact. Because truth, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Yes.
And we're free.
Let's establish also that this is not just for MMS. They came after me for silver, for magnesium, for vitamin C. That when I started my investigation, I don't know what letter you were. If you were number 2, do you know?
Yeah, I do. It's right here. I just printed out my first response. And I went point by point. My first response to the FDA before it ever went to a U.S. attorney, okay? They sent me this. And we're on the list as...
I'm just curious because just so you know, we're at 114 cases. And I look at it every day. And so...
I think it was the second list of 10 on their page. So within the first 20, I'm pretty sure it was.
I got it here.
Were you listed with Jim Baker and Alex? And
we were
close. Right after.
Yeah, we were close.
Right after, yeah.
We were close to that. And I just looked at it today. It's at
the last
I wrote a 39-page rebuttal or response, point by point. All the places around the world it's used, FDA approved use, EPA approved use. This is ridiculous, but
So
good.
ridiculous.
Well, it has to come to this. Maryam, here we are. We are Miracle Mental.
The date was 4/8/20.
4/8/2020.
Yeah.
So we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jim Baker was 7th. No, we were down about 20th. What was yours called? What was yours called?
Honey Colony. I was listed with Dustin Nemos and Jim Baker and Alex Jones.
Just Jim Baker. Honey, Amy? No, Herbal Amy.
Colony.
I didn't copy that
It
page.
must be right after.
Yeah, I think I just copied the first page because that's what we were on. But yeah, we're right up there with them, and you know. But they've been. Let me tell you something. In 2010, the FDA called the U.S. Embassy in the Dominican Republic and said, "Go to Barona, where we were living. There's some people selling MMS." So
Well, let's just establish that you established your church in the Dominican Republic in 2010, right?
yes, April of 2010. And they came, knocked on the gate. I just happened to be walking by. I opened the door, guns, military, police, pro consumidor, which is
Dominican FDA.
no, it's
Protection Consumer Agency.
Consumer Protection Agency
Yeah.
for the Spanish, right? And camera. And they knocked on the gate. Sir, we've been called here to check out you selling MMS. I said, whoa. First of all, we're a church. I've been here 20 years. At that time, maybe 15. No, 20 years. And I said, MMS is something we use as a sacrament. But see that aloe vera plant? We use that. We use the moringa tree over there. So I said, these are all natural things we use. We're a church. Basically, within 5 to 10 minutes, I go, you're a church? Yeah. 5 to 10 minutes. I said, get out of here. I shut the door and they left. Okay, so from the beginning, because Jim Humble, the guy that invented the formula, was living with us, and it was only about 5 months, 6 months he was with us.
Yeah.
Yep, we had done our first seminar, and so we got him to leave. Well, how do you know the FDA did that? This is kind of cool. God always shows us. A month later, I'm in Santo Domingo, which is the capital, near the airport, with people coming into our seminars. And there's a hotel we use near the airport when people waiting to come in. We spend the night, see them, and we go, right? Well, the owner of the hotel, the son of the owner, and he owns it too, said, Mark, you won't believe what happened. I go, what? He goes, because he's a lawyer. He says, I'm in a meeting, and they bring up this case. And he goes, it's about you. That they were sending these lawyers, were told to go out there, not the lawyers, excuse me, the people I told you about, were sent to go and check on someone calling MMS. He goes, I couldn't believe it. And they said you were a church, they had to leave, and they left and come back. But that was you guys. And we killed that guy from diabetes. Okay, that's why he was our friend. He goes, we know this stuff works. I said, bro, it's going to get worse. You watch. They're going to attack us with everything they get. Because if this goes, and Mike Adams and I were talking yesterday about this.
I have sorry to interrupt you, Mark. Is there I think your voice is just really blown out. I'm having a hard time. Is there any way to fix that?
No, I can't.
Because I can hear you, Joseph, pretty clearly.
Yeah, my voice is a lot different than his.
I know.
Is it too low or too high?
It's not too low or too high. It's just blown out. Like I do have a little bit of hearing loss, but I know that when I put this out, people will probably complain that they can't understand you.
Okay. I can try to talk closer or further away. How's this? Is this better?
Farther, yeah. Did you do something, Joseph?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that better now?
Yeah. It is.
Good.
It is better. And also, if you speak just a little slower, please. Sorry.
No, that's good. I get excited.
No, excited is good. I get excited. Okay, so resume. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
So where was I?
You were saying that they were talking about your case.
Oh yeah, and so we basically
We told them it was going to get a lot worse than
That's what I
it's
said, yeah.
happening now.
And it has, and it's blown out.
This was in 2010?
Yeah. Every time we did a seminar, not every time, but we did 63 seminars in 20 countries in the last 10 years. And what we get to a seminar, we'd have ABC there, CBS, CNN, Sky News, and we just say, not coming in here. We have nothing to hide, but you're not coming in here. You people lie. You never tell the truth, and you're owned by the same people that run the FDA. So we know all this. Leave, get out of here. So we've been harassed for 10 years, basically, constantly. Writing us, telling people, sending out warnings, the FDA sending out warnings saying, you don't listen to these people because, they're selling poison, bleach, and all the stuff you hear, which is a lie. And so we're used to it. But they've stepped it up now, Maryam, because of the fact that so many people around the world and even countries are embracing the benefits of chlorine dioxide and how it oxidizes pathogens, cleanses the body, even takes heavy metals out of the body, lead, mercury, aluminum.
By using something so natural called oxygen.
Oxidation. And so we're used to it. And so we have to make a stand. Yeah, we might be the scapegoats. We might be the people that have to stand up and do a jury trial and do all that. But they're going to regret the day that they raided the church yesterday. Not just because of MMS, because it was a church. They're going to regret that day. And they got a few things they're going to have to answer to, and never mind God, but they're going to have to answer to. So we're kind of excited, to tell you the truth. This is why I called the U.S. Marshal's office to put it on record that we're not running. You don't have to come and extradite me. I'll come to you. I'll come to you with the full force of the rule of law that you call, which calls the law of the land, right? The Bill of Rights, and when the First Amendment's included in that. And we're going to come with the full force of the law. And my end result that I want to see is that judge in jail, the attorneys in jail, the FDA completely disassembled. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have an agency, let me finish, made of people, the people,
honest,
to check and see, not to be bought off, if something that people are selling, doesn't apply to us, is dangerous or not. I'm not saying there shouldn't be something like that, because that just makes sense. Are you going to let people sell mercury to ingest or stuff like thimerosal?
Or food with a bunch.
That's okay. It's fine. Let's put them in vaccines and just, everything that they are doing, they are outright slowly poisoning human beings, dismantling their brains, and now using COVID-19 to usher in whatever the hell that they want. And go ahead.
And 5G.
Oh yeah, 5G.
That is so powerful that the guy the scientist I interviewed on our broadcast, Mark Steele, he said, Mark, I worked on this stuff. This is radiation poisoning that's happening, and that's why the cells put off viruses to try to cleanse themselves. And this is what's happening. And so it ties right in with the COVID-19.
And it makes it worse. In Guayaquil, Ecuador, where there is so many people dying, incredible amounts, 10, 15,000 in the city alone. That was one of the first countries where they implemented 5G in Latin America.
And Italy.
Really?
And Italy. And Wuhan. And
Wuhan.
Yeah, and the cruise ships. They all have 5G, and all those people. So we have evidence, and that's the truth. That talks to us. Why do we do clinical studies? To look at the evidence.
I want to just interject to say that, in my opinion, it's a perfect storm. So whatever this virus is, it depends. It's a perfect cytokine storm where 1 in every 2 people is sick. Whatever this virus is, because there's some people who don't believe that, like John Rappaport, that there's any virus, that it's just a hoax. I'm not saying that. Then there's John Rappaport has said, if people are maligning 5G, then they're doing the same thing where they're thinking it's one thing. I think it's a perfect storm, and that anyone, like I was speaking to a friend in LA, and he said, well, you drive by this hospital and there's tents. I think that they're making it's empty inside because nobody's really invited to go to the hospital. I've been calling them, but they make for show and tell, and they set up their tents. And anyone that says, oh yeah, I know someone that died of coronavirus. One, it's as or less lethal than the flu. And people do not look at the details. Show me every single damn dossier. I want to see how old they are, what they were suffering before, what the hell they were given in the hospital, and more importantly, were they put on a ventilator?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Because no one's looking at the details, and that is where the devil lies. We have become an age of mediocrity, and to just believe the mainstream media when it's like, I don't even believe that. They did a poll, 27% of people would reject this vaccine. I think it's 72%. I don't believe in the polls. I think that we are the majority, and that the mainstream media is just perpetuating their lie. Nobody wants this experimental vaccine unless they are frightened to death, and they're starting with the masks to, even here in Costa Rica, the people, like, I couldn't go look at a computer screen in a store. They wanted to put shit on my hands, trigger their fever gun. There's people like me that suffer from low-grade fever, and they're just frightening the people.
Oh yeah.
And it's infuriating.
You know why this happens? Let me read something to you. Just a quick little paragraph. In 1819, okay, way back, the Prussian-German law makes education compulsory. Okay, this is way back in 1819. The Humboldt brothers, Stein and others, divide German society into three distinct groups. Those who will be policymakers, which are taught to think, 0.5%. Those who will be engineers, lawyers, doctors, who are taught to partially think, 5.5%. And the children of the masses, 94%, who will learn to obedience and to follow orders. The school of the masses, Volksschulen, divided whole ideas into subjects which did not exist previously. This result was that people would, 1, think what someone else told them to think about. 2, when to think about it. 3, how long to think about it. 4, when to stop thinking about it. And 5, when to think of something else. How long to think about it. When to think about something else. This way they can control the masses. And they brought it into America under the Peabody educational system back in the early 1900s. And this is why they just believe anything. They went to the public schools. I educated all my kids at home, okay? They were homeschooled. Well, why did you do that? Well, we were living out of the country most of the time, so we had to. But, well, we didn't have to because there were schools you could have went to. But this is why they can't think. They don't have deductive reasoning, logic. They don't know how to look at something, diagnose it, break it apart, and decipher if it's true or not. By the evidence. They don't know how to do that.
Mind-boggling that there's so many people that are just, I would say years ago, the future is now. The zombies are here. And when you also look at the food supply and the heavy metals and the poisons, it's quantifiable. There's articles that show that the IQ of the human species has gone down. We are not living our potential. They are ushering in, they are creating us to be androids. They're confusing human beings in all sorts of
dumbing
ways.
us down. I mean, 1 in every 30 kids these days has autism or some kind of learning disorder.
Yeah, autism, but they have ADHD.
Yeah.
You break it all down with learning disorders.
1 in every 5 or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy. But the answer is we have to speak the truth. People like you that are interviewing, this is why I started the G2 Voice, because I'm not going to let other people speak for us. I'm going to every week, stand up and tell you what we're doing, and I read 10 testimonies every week. I gave 5,000 testimonies to Mike Adams yesterday of all different kind of illnesses. Said, Mike, you know this. And Mike says, I take it.
I've taken it.
Yeah. So we're not trying to promote everything. I just told my son, I said, they're stopping my books, selling them. I'm going to give them all away. I'm just going to give them all away. What are you going to do now? Huh? We're in it for the money? Yeah, right. We're in it for the money. So
they're in it for the money. They are the quacks.
Yeah, yes.
The fact that there have been others that have been persecuted in this Operation Quack Hack that have woken up and been, oh, my website is down at the server level. That's where the hack part comes in. So I was interviewing a doctor that doesn't want to be named, but he was working with Jim Baker. And an hour after we had an initial call, like you and I did, and then I called back to properly interview her, and she said, an hour after you called, 5 FDA agents drove 6 hours, showed up at her house, all masked, and took silver notebooks, her computer, her cell phone. Meanwhile, there was a police who was not masked, who was wearing a body cam, who followed them all through the house. And when she said, why are you following me? Said, because I'm afraid you might shoot us. And then she actually had to write to the FDA and say, I'm sorry, I can't make the changes that you want on the website because you took my computer.
Yeah.
And then while we were talking, she got an email saying, we are always watching you. Stop peddling your bullshit cures. And we're watching you. As we were talking, from someone she had never heard of before.
I mentioned things yesterday, and today things changed. Okay, we were on with Mike Adams back in February. The next day, his site got hit. 2 days he couldn't even put up a newsletter. 2 days, and I told Mike, I said, you know who's the most censored or quickly censored? It's us on Earth, because we're going to stop probably trillions of dollars to come into the coffers of these evil Rothschild puppets. That's who they really are. You go to the top, it's Lucifer. Under Lucifer is the Rothschilds, right? They're right there. Right there, Illuminati, those people. You don't know history, buddy. If you don't think what I'm telling you is right, with the Masons, with the Vatican, you don't know history. They're still paying.
Absolutely. And having someone like Ghislaine, I mean, her father really was like a tie between the British Parliament, between the Mossad, between other places, between the Vatican, and in the end, he got whacked.
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that they're saying they're going to get rid of the evidence because this can really help unravel. And I don't know if behind the scenes it's true that Rothschilds are being taken down. If people are going, good patriots, white hats are going after these satanic and trying to restore humanity, restore integrity, restore justice.
Yeah, it's happening. I know people. Someone wrote me 2 weeks ago now from the intelligence. I won't say which agency, and they said, Mark, God told me to write you. I'm like, well, I'm a Christian. I work for intelligence, and we want to tell you, you're going to win. This is what they told me. You're going to win. We're watching you also. You're going to win. So
and this is spiritual warfare.
Yes, ma'am.
Foremost.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly right. And so, few of us, my son, talked to him this morning. You know, we need to pray. He's right in there now, in the thick of it.
Okay, want to pray? I'm all for
always. Yeah, let's pray.
Lord, want to do the prayer?
Yeah, let me pray. Yeah, Lord, right now we have this spiritual warfare at its height, and you see my son. You see both of my sons before this judge. And you can change your words as they come out of her mouth. You can change everything. But we ask you to intercede and give him bail, or maybe no bail, just let them out, and help us to get the truth to the world. And thank you for Maryam. Thank you for my sons that will stand for the truth also. But most of all, thank you for you. You are the truth, the light, the way. And we ask you to guide us, open the world's eyes, use us. We might suffer a little bit, but Lord, use us to be the light that's set on a hill, not under a basket, on a hill, proclaiming the truth that all the world can experience, not just physical freedom, but spiritual freedom. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So thank you. Thank you, hon.
Thank you. I wake up every morning and I just say, please, God, let me be of service. Serve me.
You
Let
are.
me be of service.
You are right now.
Bring out the truth.
Yep.
And not that I'm wishing death on myself, but if this is the cause, medical freedom and freedom
Yeah.
of choice, freedom of speech, that's all there is.
Yeah.
While
Yes.
we see the dominion over our planet
Yeah.
by these evil elitists. And I do, people who say in regards to President Trump, because sometimes I think it's all political theater, it's a soap opera, and sometimes I think that he is taking out the swamp, and he certainly is not placating them. Like after 17 or 21 COVID task force that they were doing it under the White House, they're not doing it anymore under the White
Right.
House. They're doing it under HHS. He's distanced himself. President Trump knows we want to fire Fauci. We do not want this deep state asset that's been
Right.
around for 6 presidents. He is, I call him the plandemic impresario.
I call
He knows.
him an imp of Satan. We're going to change your name, Maryam.
Okay.
Your name now is going to be Esther. Esther they said to Esther, you can't go into the king unannounced. He could have you killed. She goes, if I die, I die. I'm going to go stand for the truth. So we're going to call you our sister Esther. Okay? You're Esther.
Okay.
Change your name now.
Just to tell you that my father named me Maryam. It's the spelling is the Aramaic spelling in Hebrew, although I'm not Jewish. But my mom had me 16 hours in labor, and the cord was around my neck, and I'm from Montreal. My father went and on his knees in the middle of January up 200 steps and said,
I know that place. I know that
the
place.
Joseph Oratory.
Yeah.
If she is a girl and survives, I will call her after the Virgin Mary. And I find it interesting also because I carry bee medicine, making the film Vanishing of the Bees and being in service to their message, that just like, supposedly the story goes that Virgin Mary had this birth without insemination, that the queen is able to lay drones without, I forget the term, but without insemination. It's like the queen bee is the original kind of Virgin Mary, I say.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So Maryam Esther now.
Esther.
Maryam
Okay.
Esther. That's what we're going to call you. You're a warrior. You're going to fight. And then we have to. What's life all about unless you stand for truth? I can't live in a world without truth. I can't. I won't. And not that I'm going to kill myself. In fact, I told Mike, we are not suicidal. Are you?
No.
Are you?
No, I'm not.
Are you? Are you suicidal? Okay.
No.
So if we're suicided, although there was a guy last week that committed suicide, but he died of COVID.
Yeah.
How's that work? How's that work out? It's ridiculous. It's
so ridiculous. It's so
Yeah.
You
ridiculous.
died from
when-
something else, but you had COVID, so that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just like, listen, George Floyd, which I've been following
Oh.
that PSYOP, he was in April supposedly diagnosed with COVID. Why isn't anyone talking about that story? Is his girlfriend, fiance Courtney, were they under quarantine? Who issued them to get a test?
Yeah.
Just to keep it in the bullshit narrative of Black Lives Matter, which they matter because blacks are guinea pigs.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
have actual African Americans who say, quote, I have the arduous task of convincing other blacks that in order to properly develop a vaccine, we need to test on African Americans. You are selling out your own people. You don't give a shit
Yeah.
about Black
Exactly.
lives.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You're just
Oh.
virtue signaling.
All
the whole
matter.
slave. Listen, I lived in Nigeria for 3 years. While I was there, they were selling slaves. But 90%, probably 80% of all the slaves that were sold by the black people to the white people. Okay? People don't know that.
The leaders, you mean, selling their people
A
out?
tribe would go in, take another tribe, sell them to the white guys, and take all their stuff. That's how they got the slaves. They were waiting on the shore with captured tribes that the blacks captured, took their tribe and sold them to the white guy and took all their stuff. Maybe kept their wives, I don't know. But that's what the whole history, it's all messed up. We don't have true history. Right now I'm writing a book called The Government of God. And it's how it was in the beginning, how it's going to be in the end. In this interim, in between, there's only 4 kingdoms. God said there's only going to be 4 kingdoms. The Babylonian, the Persians, the Greece, and Rome. We're still under the Roman Empire. And I'm going to prove it to people, and we can show it. And Americans' taxes go to the Vatican, still, through the city of London. It's amazing the evidence we pulled up, and we're getting sidetracked.
Supposedly there's stuff under the Vatican, correct?
Well, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And a lot of truth that they're suppressing under there. But, Maryam, the bottom line is we're going to fight, and if we have to be sacrificed during this whole thing, we're willing. What are they going to do? Kill me, send me to heaven? Wow. That's horrible, Joe. I have to go see my father and the people that went before me and talk to the Lord. Wow. You don't scare me with death, okay? So we're going to fight, and listening to people today and yesterday, it's only been 1 day. The people that have contacted me and the people we're going to have on our team probably are going to blow away these people at a jury trial. And my prayer is, just because of time and we want to get busy helping more people, is Trump steps in, or Barr. I wrote both of them. And just say, dismiss this case, put everything back, leave them alone, let them go, leave alone their sacraments, or we're going to put you in jail. That's my prayer, that would be the ultimate, because it would dissolve everything, and we wouldn't have to spend all this time fighting this crap. But they try to distract you, you know?
So before we go, I want to be mindful of your time and just have a couple more questions. So what's next? We pray that your sons are released without bail. They had to spend the night in jail?
Last night, yeah. I'm looking to see if they wrote me, but nothing yet. That's our prayer, that they could get released without bail, because they're not a flight risk, because during this whole thing, they just in the home. People would come by. We saw all kinds of people outside watching and making sure and things, and we're not going to run.
Risk. Meanwhile, we don't even know where Charles Lieber was. He got like a slap on the wrist and was granted permission to leave the state during a global lockdown. So it's just such hypocrisy.
Yeah, exactly.
Beyond belief. So okay, so we pray for them to be released. Are you going to get your money and your goods back?
Like I said, if we don't get to win, they're probably going to keep it all to sell it, to pay the so-called cost.
Yeah, to cover their costs.
That's what they
whatever,
do.
Yeah.
And if they say the bail's at whatever, they took all our money, closed our bank. How are we going to pay? So are you going to make us have to stay in jail because we can't pay? Come on. Well, we got people that say they'll help us.
But how could they say you're not a church if you are a church?
Because we tell people we are non-religious, meaning we're not in a denomination. We don't follow religious creeds and things. We're open up to anybody. You don't have to be a Christian to come to us. You could be a Muslim, a Jew, an atheist, and we'll come and help you. You could be a member of our church. So you got to be non-religious, and even on the Wikipedia, they're spiritual but not religious. They're a designation. Yeah. So we're spiritual people. We've said that. So they use that. They said we're secular. Well, secular means without God. We're not secular. So you offended us and our church, and the damages you're causing to us
And all of our members.
and all of our members and people that can't get our sacraments that need it. You're killing them. Literally, you're making them suffer because we can cure them. So that's why they say.
So
Madame.
my other question is, we know that Trump has a vaccine injured child. We know because in 2014 he sent out tweets putting down vaccines, but of course big pharma is God, meaning in their world they have all the power. Big pharma is not to be messed with. They are. So is he treading carefully? Do you think, because a lot of people are like, trust the plan, referring to Q, you should trust God's plan and you should trust yourself. No one is going to come and save you. Is he, do you think, part of a political theater, or is he having to tread carefully while he does really clean up the swamp? Because you can argue that there's more swamp creatures around him.
Well,
Birds
yeah.
and Fauci are deep swamp creatures.
My take on the president is this. He can't be satanic simply because he's just basically fighting against abortion. That's one of the reasons why we're suffering as a nation. Okay? I believe it's a curse upon God. 70 million kids have been killed since Roe versus Wade. Just in America. Never mind the world. Secondly, he's standing up for prayer. God. He holds up his Bible. Do you know the story of his grandmother? Did you ever watch that story? Amazing. He has that Bible still, what she did in Scotland during a revival. And she was a little crippled lady that all they could do is pray. And a whole revival broke out. He has that Bible, okay? And now he's making statements. I know people that prayed with him. I know people that know him. So I think, yes, stick with the plan, because even QAnon mentioned us, okay? Mentioned chlorine dioxide, it's a cure, and said, hang on, it's gonna come out. And I know people that know him, I know people that see him, that pray with him. So I think you just can't walk in and say, he doesn't know who they all are yet. He has to play with them until he sees their real colors pop out. And he's very smart about that. And
why does he promote ventilators and boast about being ventilator king when we know that they're killing people?
Well, he's not a doctor, okay? So he does have some bad counsel. And
Not that all doctors have good counsel.
No, but they're the ones who push the
I mean, when they blame him, it's like, why aren't you blaming the doctors?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Everything is Trump's fault.
No, I think he's in a really tough place. But I can see that the swamp is getting cleansed. Look at this. They just threw out, I don't know if you know this story, they just threw out the U.S. Attorney in New York. And
the Burden guy? The
guy that wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave even after you have to leave, so the president had to step in and say, throw him out. And
his name Burham?
I think it was, but I'm not sure. But the story goes, the day after he left, they got that girl, what's her name, Maxwell? They got her. They were able to get to her. He was protecting her. He was not letting them go after her. The next day, they got her, okay? And that's going to implement all the rest of the swamp.
Although we have to see a mugshot, and there's like, the mainstream is like, oh, she's on suicide watch. Oh, was sent to the ICU because she was sent to a hospital full of COVID-19 prisoners. So there's a lot of malarkey. And the fact now that all the Epstein is going to be destroyed, the evidence, which is mind-boggling that this judge would acquiesce to that. So we have to see. Obviously, this is like a pinnacle that would uncover a lot of other evil.
Yeah, and they still have Hillary Clinton's computers. Well, not Hillary Clinton's, the other guy. What was his name?
Weiner. You guys just froze. Hello.
Yeah, we talked about Hillary. Yeah,
You
we talk
froze
about it.
for a while. Did you say
Right.
Wiener?
Yeah, we know, but we talk about Hillary Clinton and it freezes. Are you trying to tell us something, people? Huh? Bill Gates, you trying to tell us something? We're coming after you if you're listening. We're coming after all of you. And
Yeah.
God's got, you think the big pharma has power?
God
Your
has
breath.
power. God
God
has
is,
power.
yeah,
Bill
God.
Gates, by the way, has links to the Maxwells. If you look at
Yes.
the genealogy, that he's really Jewish and has links to Maxwell, to the name Maxwell. So, I mean, these are eugenicists. These
Yeah.
people, these people have been salivating for depopulation. And it's like I personally I'm not against abortion. I'm against Planned Parenthood. I'm against selling fetuses for other means. Because I don't think, I mean, I think we have parenting is a big deal, and people need to take that into the consideration. I believe you have consent of your own body. But when you find out the evil behind Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger being an straight out racist, and her ties to Bill Gates and her father.
Well, but Maryam, Esther, the reason why I'm against abortion is because Psalm 139 talks about God in the womb, put together all the parts, wrote it in a book, and says from the beginning, from the time of conception, I'm your God, and I put you in a book. So that's why it's a precious life, and they should have rights. The woman has a right, obviously, right? It's her body, but the baby has a right, and it's his body or her body. So we're not gonna. This is why I think the curse is on America, but it's a perfect life that God created at that moment. So we can go on and on against that, but you're a sweet lady that's standing for truth. Don't stop.
Thank you.
Don't stop.
I won't stop. You don't stop. Let me know what goes on with the bail, and if Joseph, you can send me
Yeah, I'll
any
send you the links that you
any
need.
ABC or any, because I want to include that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put this up right away.
Yeah. Where are you putting
Okay.
it up? Where are you putting it up?
I'm gonna put it up on YouTube, then I'll put it up on Brighteon, then I'll put it up on BitChute.
Okay.
And I know Mike interviewed me a couple of weeks ago to help break this story, and I hope to continue to work with him in some way. I'm very grateful, and just keep on keeping on.
Amen.
Amen.
You keep going, hon, and we'll be praying for you, Esther. God
Thank
bless
you. I'll share that with you. Blessings to you.